What's up, Phantoms? It's your boy, Phantom Freak, and I am back on the sticks. And today we're suiting up for EA Sports College Football 2026. Is it a game-winning touchdown or a soul-crushing interception? Let's march down the field and find out. So, right out of the tunnel, EA fixes last year's biggest gripe, repetition. Iconic entrances, enter Sandman at Virginia Tech, Sandstorm at South Carolina, and dozens more give each stadium that goosebump energy. Band and crowd chants are way more licensed tunes now over the PA, plus student section sings-alongs. That shifts a game's magnitude. You know, night game intros are absolute fire. And whenever I tell you the crowd sings along, it's like the coolest thing ever when it comes to like chants and all that stuff. Now, you know, there's new outfits in this game, new props, and even coach cameos now that most FBS coaches are signed on. Immersion finally matches a Saturday on campus, and this game makes you feel like a straight, full-blown college football, like if you're watching on TV, but you're actually in the game. Get what I did there? EA Sports, it's in the game. Now, let me tell you about some stuff about the wear and tear on this. Individual body parts track fatigue and injury. Toughness ratings matter. Big hits now hurt and show in animation. Limps, you know, like taped wrist, all kinds of stuff. It's absolutely crazy. There's also dynamic substitutions now. You can swap players without pausing. Perfect for preserving stars in a cupcake games or situational packages. User controls are definitely a lot better this time now. You know, it lets you tone injury severity or speed healing. Hardcore sim or arcade light, it's absolutely your call. There's all kinds of game modes and all kinds of different ways to play this game. The new blocking engine means guards actually pick up safeties. Inside runs finally break for daylight instead of broken tackle bingo. And let me tell you, it's absolutely insane. The new mechanics, the gameplay feel, like people is going to say this is just like your copy of Madden because Madden's the same game every year, just reskinned. This game, they actually listened, which is crazy because it's made by the same people from Madden, but it must be like a different team because they're actually listening to feedback. You know, normally I love the offensive side to these games, but the defensive side to College Football 26 has actually hit a lot different this time around because it, like the physics-based tackling feels like it was kind of ported from Madden 25. Hit sticks are consistent, size mismatches feel real. You know, the trip-ups save touchdowns. All kinds of stuff. You know, the blocks on this game is absolutely insane. Like left stick shoves and selectable stunts on every play keeps trench warfare fresh. And there's a lot of smarter AI on this game. You know, the Heisman difficulty disguises blitz, you know, adjusts fronts if you spam inside zone. And it's very hard now with the AI. Like the AI actually plays smart on this game. They're not playing dumb. They're not playing like they don't know what they're doing. The AI actually knows what they're doing when you have it on a higher difficulty. Now, of course, if you have it on like freshman, the rookie modes, all that stuff, it's going to be a lot easier. But if you turn up that difficulty, you're going to definitely notice how much of an improvement the AI has become on this game. I've only have a few hours, but it's enough for an early impression. Recruiting UI cleanup is definitely better filters, faster loading, and a revamped pipeline for absolutely everything. You know, the season-long bumps influences who you rest before rivalry week, the branching press conference and social media chatter that actually sway transfer interest, that makes the road to the glory mode very, very fun. And away game crowd meters. Let me tell you about this real quick. Whew. Man. So the online games are played. It's like 3-minute quarters. I can't remember if that's what it was on last year or not, but definitely the 3-minute quarters can still turn into about a 25-minute game. However, though, what I have found difficulty about online, let me tell you, it absolutely drove me insane. If you are not a home field boost, you are going to have your shakiness going like absolute crazy. I played an online game and I was not home field. And the very first time I even got the ball, whenever I tried to look at my plays, it was already zigzagging, that little blurry shaking lines that it does and all that. It was very hard. Now, if you like a challenging game and all that stuff and don't mind the challenges, then absolutely it's going to be right up your alley. But if you're like me and that stuff kind of gets annoying, It's something you're definitely having to overlook and be meaningful of, because it's definitely a lot. But like I said, this game from last summer's comeback is huge. I don't feel like the hype was as real for college football 26 this year as 25 was, but it's such a better game. The mechanics, the controls, everything feels better. It does feel like a fresh new game. I'm just being completely honest. It does feel like a fresh new football game. Now, who's to say from here on out if it's not going to become like Madden and then they just start reskinning it because people are liking it? But you know what they say, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? However, though, it is not bad at all. So, college football 26 doesn't, absolutely blow me away, but it's still a great game, and it's still a lot more polished and, looks a lot better than from last year. The smarter AI, the believable injuries, the crowd-pumping presentations. If you love 25, 26 is a must-sign-on 5-star recruit. If you escaped last year, now is still the perfect time to sit here and get going onto the game. I'm definitely giving this game a touchdown with an 8 out of 10 score. Now, lights are off, the band's packed up, and the echoes of Enter the Sandman are still rumbling. But remember, win or lose, keep your head on a swivel and your controller's charged, because you're going to need it for college football 26. Until the next kickoff, guys, stay spooky and keep gaming. Phantom Freak out. Peace. Wait. Quick question before we break the huddle. Which squad are you rolling with first in your dynasty mode? I'm eyeballing to rebuild Kentucky a little bit because, Kentucky native and their football team needs a little bit of work. So I feel like I might be able to do something there. But what team are you rolling with? And also, are you picking up this game? Let me know. Anyways, guys, Phantom Freak out. Peace.